Vroom, vroom, vroom. Oh, hi. My name is Mike, and this is a bike. In this episode, I'm not going to be working on a bike. Not even going to be working on a car. No. In this episode, actually, I'm going to be working on the remains of a car. See, I answered an ad on Facebook because Facebook is dangerous and there's stuff on it. Anyway, I got some parts that I can use on the Rusty Grenade project. But they're still attached to cut off pieces of car, so I need to do a little bit of disassembly and so forth. But that's what this episode is going to be about. I'll try not to make it too boring. I've got a nice limited slip rear end that can go in the Rusty Grenade. And then I also have a K-member that's still kind of attached to a lot of stuff. Now, why would I need another K-member? Well, so if you look at the front wheels on old Rusty, you see they're kind of cambered out a little bit. And that's because the K-member I bought was from a later model vehicle, from an LTD or something like that. So even though it bolted in, it was a little bit wider, and consequently my camber's off. So when I take it to the alignment shop, hopefully there's enough adjustment here to kick the top of the wheel back out and get that camber back in place. Of course, the next problem is going to be, of course, do I have enough fender clearance? Yeah, we're already pretty close right here. So, you know, the body's pretty straight on this old car. I really don't want to beat the crap out of the fenders with the brass hammer, although I do love my brass hammer. I would much rather get this thing to align without any kind of wheel rub. So the good news is the one on the trailer is an older version and would have the same width as the original one that came out of this car. So that's what this video is about. We're going to unload the parts. I'm going to tear apart that front end, get the K-member out of it, and just, you know, set it aside in my piles and piles of stuff in the event that I actually need it. It's nice to have that option in case I can't get the Rusty Grenade to align. So, if you want to be really bored, stick around.
Somewhere in a dusty, dirty back alley in western Arizona, not far from historic Route 66, is an old fart trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. He'll work on anything, just as long as it's got at least 2 cool wheels.
to start by simply taking off the wheels, setting them aside so I can sell them separately. And then I'll drag this rear end off to the side for now until I'm ready to put it in. And then this one, well, I think probably the best way to disassemble it is with it on the rack like this, because, well, I'm going to have to deal with these monsters, springs. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm not sure. I'm going to take the lower ball joint nut loose, but not all the way off, and then, give it a good smack to disconnect it. And then I'll put the weight of it back down on the ground and unbolt it from the top. And that way the spring will pull the whole shock assembly down. Hopefully it'll be a nice controlled descent instead of the springs kind of shooting around and, taking out the gas tank on my motorcycle or the windshield on the Rusty Grenade or any number of other things that wild springs have been known to do. Well, crap. Turns out that I cannot get the spindle off of the lower ball joint without removing the rotor because there's not enough clearance between the rotor and the bottom edge of the control arm. So that means I gotta temporarily bolt these struts back into the towers just to hold it long enough to take the brake caliper and the rotor off. I mean, I gotta put it together to take it apart, which is typical. But at least I know now that it's too late. can get to the bolts that separate the shock towers from the subframe or K-member. There's two here, and there's two up in here inside where the spring went. So I'll knock those bolts out, and then I'll have my separated, ready to reinstall on something else K-member. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. As you can see, my junk pile has grown. What? You thought there was going to be more? I warned you this was going to be a boring video. Anyway, thanks for watching my boring video. Come on back to the next one, and don't forget to hit the old subscribe button. I'd appreciate it.